Hello everybody, today we're going to be talking with Coach Key, the girls basketball coach here at Greenfield-Central High School. So how are you doing, Coach Key?
Great.
Great. So I know your team fought harder all season, so what do you guys, how do you view this year as a whole?
Yeah, this year we just had our banquet last night, so it's kind of fresh in my mind. We just talked about it, but overall I thought this was a unique season. It was a fun season. The season before we graduated 75% of our scoring, so going into it, it was going to be kind of tough sledding for a while. Our goal was to make sure we were still winning, playing a good brand of basketball. We finished the season 13-12, so we had a winning record. I think we won 7 in a row up until the sectional final game. We played Pendleton, and we gave them, the best shot. So they're a really good team. So overall, I thought it was a great season. Super happy with our group. We have basically everyone coming back but Julianne Jones, which we'll miss. So overall, it's a good season.
Yeah, awesome. So the season had its ups and downs. So how are you guys going to improve to make this next season better?
Yeah, kind of a tricky question, but we'll have 2 move-ins that will dramatically change our roster. Riley Shellhammer and her younger sister, Britt, will be coming in as well. So only losing Jules, but picking up 2. I thought our group was young in general. We had a bunch of sophomores out there, Aubrey Bush, Abby Millay, Brooklyn Studi, all sophomores. Lexi Kirkhoff was a freshman. So we had a young group out there playing. Next year, we'll still be relatively young, honestly, with Izzy being a senior and Ainsley Robinson being a senior, Addie Hecox as well. But it will be a different group. We should be a pretty good basketball team, though.
As a coach, you learned a lot throughout the season. So what would you say you've learned throughout the season?
Oh, man, you're right. You do learn a lot. You learn a lot every season. This group brought back the fun in coaching for me. I guess that's the kind of thing I took away most of the season, that they were a fun group to be around. They played hard. They practiced hard. They liked to have fun. They liked to listen to music and dance and make it lighthearted, but they would compete for me. We pressed a lot this year, and I haven't pressed in several years, so that was kind of fun to adjust my game plans according to that. As a coach, you always got to be willing to try different things, and this year I kind of learned what this group can do. So I guess going into next season, I got a good idea that we'll still be pressing a lot. We'll be undersized, but I think that our girls also learned that to win games, you got to be able to hit shots. So off season, we'll be doing a lot of shooting.
So you've made a lot of memories this season. What would you say is your most notable one?
Oh, man. What a great question. It sticks out in my mind, the 2 games. Beat Mount Vernon. It's the first time we beat Mount Vernon since I've been here. Thought Aubrey Bush was unbelievable in defense, and it was a great team effort. We were down 16 going into the 4th quarter against Yorktown, one of our last regular season games, close to last regular season game. We came back and won that game. That was a highlight for sure. Being down 16, going into a lot of points. Julianne Jones kind of took the group and was like, "Hey, we're not going down like this. Let's go." We came back and won it in overtime. So that's a game I'm probably not going to forget. But just winning those last 7 in a row, pretty cool to end the season with a winning record, and 4th year in a row of a winning record. I feel like the program's going the right way. So there's a lot of really highlights of the season.
Yeah. So obviously you want your team to work hard in the off season. So what will you be doing as a coach to help your players get ready for the next season?
Yeah, we'll start workouts April 12th. We'll have them 2 times a week, I think, for 12 different open gyms what the state allows. We'll be coming in the morning. We'll be getting up a lot of shots. Towards the end of the spring, we'll be doing more offensive stuff to get them used to running our offense, with Britt and Riley being relatively new. There's different dynamics we can do with them. In the summer, we'll play in a couple shootouts. We'll play in a league. Most of June, we kind of live together in June. July, I give them off mostly because I need a break. And AAU starts back up, and they need a break too. And then we'll start right back up when we can with Breakfast Club with Coach Merritt in the mornings, and getting stronger and quicker and doing all those things and preparing for next season.
So how does having a high-level player like Riley Shellhammer help the team?
Yeah, we only got 2 games with her. So against Anderson, I think she shot like 15 free throws, which is a lot of free throws in the game to shoot, but that kind of shows you what she can do. Against Pendleton, I think we were down like 9-2, and then she hit like 2 or 3 threes in a row. She can equalize the game sometimes with her scoring ability. In practice, she was practicing with us since mid-December. she made our second group better. She made our first group better because our first group had to go against her. And our second group was getting better anyway, but it just made the entire program kind of lift up a little bit. And I would assume that sister's going to be the same way.
Yeah. Staying motivated throughout a whole long season is very difficult. So how do you help your players stay motivated?
The eye is always on the prize of sectional. That's I always kind of compare it to like a final exam. All year long, you're trying to get better, you're trying to work on your weaknesses, get better at the things that will help you win. Even if in season when things aren't going great, you've always got sectional at the end to say, hey, we got to get better so we can compete at a high level. Thought we did exactly that this year. So you always want to strive for a winning record, so every game kind of matters. Our conference was really good this year. I think nearly every team in the conference, but maybe one had a winning record, and that one was actually Yorktown. And they actually had a team that won 17 the year before, and they didn't lose anybody. So they were a good team. It's just the conference was great. So stay motivated. Of every game matters. Continue to get better. Go over stats of where we should be. So not real hard to keep motivated. I got a good group, and they want to get better.
So what do you guys do outside of practice to bond together?
Yeah, my first year here, we tried to implement team dinners, and now we've got about once a week. We have a team dinner. A parent normally puts it on. We used to go to the cafeteria, make it easier on everyone else. But it's kind of funny, the things the kids like the best about the season a lot of times are team dinners where they get to hang out and just eat food and laugh and just kind of be a high school kid for a little bit. So that's one of the big things we do for the most part.
Yeah, so you have a lot of young talent. What players are you looking to return next year?
Yeah, our entire group that started in sectional will be back minus Jules. So, Izzy Silcox will be our leading scorer. Lexi Kirchhoff's a freshman, going to be a sophomore. Abby Millay will probably be in that group at some point. Brooklyn Studi's probably one of the better shooters we have. Aubrey Bush is probably one of the best competitors we have. Obviously, Riley will be back. Her sister's coming in, who's going to be a pretty good player. Addie Hecox gives us depth. Ainsley Robinson started the last 2 years. He's a kid that is just a competitor. We will lack some height, but if you play hard and you hit shots, you can still compete.
There are a lot of aspects that go into player development. So what would you say is the most important aspect?
Oh man, that depends on where they're at in their journey, I guess. But I would say younger kids, dribbling. Dribbling is a thing that we can't do enough of. I've always kind of believed that I can teach a kid to shoot along the way. It's really, really hard to teach a kid that's 16, 17 to learn how to dribble under pressure. You've got to be putting a lot of work in on dribbling. This year, this group I have now, we'll still continue to work on dribbling in the off season, dribbling under pressure, but we got to make sure we're hitting shots to win games. So those are kind of the two big things I'll work on with them.
So the transition from junior high to high school is very difficult. So how do you plan on helping your 8th graders transition to high school basketball?
We're going to be lucky this upcoming year because there's not a lot of openings, I guess you'd say, in our varsity roster. So a lot of those kids are going to have to play JV for a year, maybe 2, and that helps that transition. We've had to pull up kids. Izzy Silcox is a tremendous basketball player. We had to start her as a freshman at one point in time. Lexi Kirchhoff's a really good basketball player. We had to start her as a freshman. I was able to play Studi and Abby Millay a little bit of JV this year to kind of ease into the varsity role. But, with injuries and stuff, sometimes you don't have that luxury. This 8th grade group is going to be able to play JV for a year or 2 to get ready so they're ready for varsity basketball.
You want your players to be the best they can be. So what separates a great player from a good one?
What separates a great player from a good one? I would say the personal drive of wanting to go in and put in work by yourself. Izzy Silcox is a good example of that. She's kind of like last year, she was behind Cheney Brown and Maddie Sensini and Brooklyn McConnell, all outstanding basketball players. Izzy worked herself on making moves and being more dynamic and figuring out how to score on different levels. Great players put in work by themselves with no coaches around.
How has the season helped you become a better coach?
The one thing I like about coaching is that I've been doing it that's my 17th year as a head coach. Every year is a challenge. This year was included that you've got different things that happen throughout the year. I think that you just learn to adapt and challenge yourself of, am I doing the best I can possibly do? Am I putting our girls in great situations? Every year is different, but I try to stay on top. I watched college basketball teams run sets, and I'm thinking, hey, that could be really good for Izzy, or that could be really good for Ainsley, or whatever it is. So I just continue to challenge myself to make sure I'm putting our kids in great positions.
Yeah. Well, that's all the time we have. So thank you for coming, and thank you all for watching.